This right here is 6th Avenue, right? This is 60th going here. The first house, the second house, that's me right there. That's where I live at, yeah.
You guys dealing with a lot of out-of-town players, and if you were, how were you guys beating these guys?
Oh yeah, we was dealing with a lot of out-of-town players. We deal with some of the biggest out-of-town players that you could name, man. In New York, one of them came to be a snitch. Nicky Vaughn. Everybody know, I ain't gonna hide it. Everybody know Nicky was a snitch.
Vaughn had a California connection.
When he didn't have it, he didn't get it from the mafia.
This is what I wanted to ask you. You mentioned a young hustler named Dave getting killed.
Yeah.
Is that Daft?
No, that ain't Daft. That ain't Daft. Daft liked to gamble, man. And Daft liked to sell weed. I mean, I know it's blowed out of proportion the way they tried to say Daft was doing this. Daft wasn't doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? I know his girl, you know, and I'm not gonna mention her name. I know her very well. You know, when she got out the pen, you know, hooked her up with some people that I knew had the apartment and all that. She was one of y'all homeboys.
Back then, how much was a kilo of cocaine and heroin going for? What were the numbers back in the 70s?
Well, kilo of cocaine, when you could get 68, 70,000 for a key, you know, per key.
In Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. But you take it out of town, you get more. Then they had, you know, that heroin. They had China White, they had, you know, Mexican brown, they had tar, and depending on what it cost, you could get one of them for about 38,000 a key. Yeah.
You mentioned having an apartment in Fox Hills.
Yeah.
You hear about a lot of the players back then having condominiums and apartments in Fox Hills.
Yeah.
What was it about Fox Hills that you guys gravitated to?
Well, you know, Fox Hill was a fly place at that time. You know, they built it up. They had the mall. And, you know, you had basketball players staying all up in there, man. You had Magic, and a lot of them dudes. A lot of ball players was up in there, you know. Yeah, and they was having their fun, you know, so. I lived on Green Valley Circle.
All right, so we catch a case in 79.
Yeah.
What happens with that case?
Oh, man, I catch a case in 79. I go, get bailed out. I bail out, start going to court, and I'm going to Santa Monica court, right? I'm going where, you know, where they got the Grim Reaper as the judge. You know what I'm saying? He laying to chop a black man's head off, you know. And I went there, you know, and the jury hung the first time, you know. Then the jury found me guilty, you know. And I went to the pen. Yeah.
State or feds?
No, it was the state. You know, the feds wanted me, you know, but they didn't have a case. You know, they didn't have a case. They wanted me bad, but they just didn't have a case. You know, the dude that was dealing with me, he was dealing with the state. Had he dealt with the feds, it would have been a federal case, but he dealt with the state with major crimes downtown, you know.
Okay, so now you in California State Prison.
Without a doubt.
1979, 80, 81-ish?
I went in 70, 79, got out in 82.
So now, does Mike take off his hustler hat and put his V&G hat back on for the state penitentiary?
Let me tell you something.
How we riding that out, man?
Yeah, but let me tell you what I was doing all along. I always show love to the hood, whether it was V&G or 60 hood, right? I always show love, okay? So them dudes had my back. So at all times, I never put the gang culture behind me. It was always in me. You know what I'm saying? It stayed in me. You know, it's in me today. But I'm doing, you know, the things that's happening. I don't believe in hurting another black man. I don't believe in that bullshit. You know, I don't believe in it, man. But you know, I got it in me right now. That don't leave you. Stick with you till the day you die.
So where did you do time at in the state? Where was you at?
Well, I went to Chino. I was in Palm Hall. And then, you know, to get evaluated and all that. And they was getting ready to send me to San Quentin and, you know, coming with the bullshit. So my mother knew one of the head counselors, went Louisiana college with her. And so she talked to him, and they ended up sending me to Sierra, a camp. So Melvin Foreman was there, and a lot of other dudes that I knew from the streets. We did time together up there.
Oh, so you didn't get to touch the whole prison game, Black Gorilla family stuff. You bypassed all that.
I knew the Black Gorilla family, I knew all them brothers, out of Pasadena, Ray, Doc Holliday, my cousin Champagne was like that. He was part of that. They was all in San Quentin.
Were they team Tootie too? Or they had their own shit?
Well, they had their own. They was doing their own thing, But some kind of way, it rains down. You're still coming from the cloud.
So what year did you grow up?
1982.
Back on the streets.
Yeah.
What's the game plan? 1982. What are you doing?
I never stopped hustling in jail. I put girls down and they was hustling. I came back, jumped back in my Benz. Tootie had the house in Encino, so we was back doing what we do.
So you're having a front row seat on this new drug called crack that's rolling in the South Central.
Right. Well, when I got out in 82, I went back on a violation. I was out only 9 months, but they said the governor wanted me in jail. They called the SSU. It's this team called the SSU. They'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? They send them out to kill you. It's a Secret Service unit that comes from Sacramento out of the governor's office. So they violated me and put me back in prison. So I got out, did the 6 months, got out. And then when I got out, I got back the hustling. But the era from the crack era really came, crack, because freebasing came from up north. That's how we got hip to it. It came from up north, but that was with ether and water. So when the crack era came through, Tootie had caught a case. This dude, did some things, and it's public information. So that's why I'm gonna talk about it. And had my little brother and who used to be my wife in the car in the Rolls Royce, and he did a deal with the DEA. So the DEA locked the kids in, Tootie's kids. So it's, we gonna put your kids down or we gonna put you down. So he went, with one of them. He knew in the marina when he was selling them through keys, they was feds, but he didn't care because he knew they wanted him or they was gonna mess with his kids. And he wasn't going for that. So when he went away, then, but before he went, that freebase, that not freebase, but the crack started pumping. And then that's when Freeway Rick and the CIA shit happened.
So how long were you on the streets from when you paroled? You got captured again. What year?
Oh, you talking about when I got out? Okay. I was out I stayed out 82 all the way to 92.
Oh, you had a lot.
Yeah, 10 years, but I was doing other things, I mean, that's a whole different thing, and a lot of people, I used to put together, allegedly I put together, because I had a jewelry store and all this, and that's a whole nother book, man, and they said I had some gang members, Bloods and Crips, and sending them in stores, and they were supposed to have been taking a whole lot of money, millions of dollars in jewelry. So I got into that, had businesses, and then went to the pen,
All right, I want to conclude. I just wanted to ask you about Tootie passed away. What's been like, 10 years now?
No, it wasn't that long.
It ain't that long?
It's more like 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years?
Yeah.
Tootie being on the top of the food chain in the 70s.
Right, in the 60s too.
In the 60s too.
Mm-hmm.
Since he passed away, I'm curious to know, did you ever find out who his connection was?
Well, I'm gonna have to say this, brother. I gotta take the fifth on that.
Okay. No, because I wanted to see if he was actually dealing with the Pablo type individuals in Colombia.
Well,
Because they all dead.
okay, so I'll say this, hypothetically speaking, right? Check this out. If you the black godfather of the West Coast and you moving shit, you know, thousands of kilos, you ain't gonna get it from Tijuana.
Okay, let's pivot now. What can you tell me about my man Keith Fudge, aka Ace Capone?
Okay, that's my little. That would be like one of my little homies, right? I never got to meet the brother, but me and him talk right now when he get a chance to talk. You know, he's on death row, and they allegedly said that he was the 54th Street massacre. So I'm gonna say free Uno. You know, free the young brother, man. Because a lot of us, you know, they kidnap us and blame us for a whole lot of shit we ain't did.
Okay, in conclusion, tell us about your books,
All right.
your projects, what's going on with Mike.
You know, the main thing now is the first book I wrote was just Hood Legends. Okay, the second book right now that's out is Hood Legends, This Thing We Started. Okay, and it elaborates and it gives a lot of a salute to a lot of people in there, like Snoop. You know, Snoop got Death Row Records, man. Peace and blessings to that brother. You know what I'm saying? Proud of him. You know, and he's a hood legend. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that's hood legend in their own rights that I speak about in here. Now, Saturday, you know, I go inside these juvenile institutions, and I'm trying to save some of us. I'm not going in there preaching. I ain't no preacher. I ain't gonna do none of that. But I'm gonna go in there and share some knowledge, like I share with y'all. You know what I'm saying? In hopes that I can steer the youth away from the life that I live, because the life I live is glamorous, but people don't live to be my age. You know what I'm saying? They don't live to be 64 years old, 65 years old. You know, they dead. You know what I'm saying? It don't happen. So, and a lot of families are hurt. So what I'm trying to do is basically steer them from that. So I'm going in on Saturday, matter of fact, to Camp Alpha Ball and Camp Page. You know what I'm saying? I'm going right in there and mentor the youth. Yeah, so that's what I'm about. In this book, man, you know, I ask people to buy the book, and I'm giving them some knowledge and history, some real shit, some real gangster shit, you know what I'm saying, some real gang culture shit, and them buying the book, a percentage of that is going to go to help them kids, man. Kids that's out here, too, that may need a tutor. I'm talking about if your son needed a tutor and your paper was short, you know what I'm saying, and the funds from here, I'd be willing to help them, you know what I mean? That's what this is all about. Giving back, man, and paying it forward to our hood. Because if you don't pay it forward to our hood, man, you can't call yourself a boss. A lot of people do, but they not. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Let me ask you something. Are you the last man standing out of the Tootie Reese crew? Out of your crew?
You know what? You keep in mind, Tootie's old enough to be my father. You know? Right. So, yeah, a lot of them, man, passed away. Suge passed away. But a lot, some K9, he's alive.
Also, Squally's Uncle Suge was an intimate part of Tootie's circle?
Yeah, Suge was no joke. Suge was, he kicked it with George Jackson and all that. Suge was a businessman. So.
Oh, he was off the east side? Or you call him a businessman?
No, businessman. You remember the businessman, the gang?
Yeah.
So he was at. Yeah, South Park. He's out from South Park, where Barry White and them was.
So he was Squally's real uncle, his mom's brother? Or
yeah, you got it. You said it. That's his yeah. Suge is Squally's mother's brother.
And what happened to Suge?
He died away, man. You know, he died. Some things happened. So he had a problem at one of them clubs, man. Somebody hit him in the head with a bat, snuck up on him, and then messed him up. And he was like, from there, what they did, as mentally he was messed up, but his good wife, Teresa, she's a beautiful woman, man. Inside and out, she took care of Suge, man. Made sure Suge had everything. Made sure he had manicures, pedicures, roof over his head. You know what I'm saying?
What year did he die?
Suge didn't die. When did Suge die? It's like, I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
It wasn't long. It wasn't long because everybody, Tootie passed away, and he did really good, man, because he had one kidney. Shit, he was a diabetic.
Were you around for when Squally died in '86?
Yeah. I was still hustling. I had jewelry stores downtown in Las Vegas. I had one in the mall. Yeah, Squally. I hate to see it, man, but Squally got messed up. That crack shit. I'm like saying this, man. When they brought that crack into the hood, it was like the devil was unleashed and all his demons, and it affected all our lives that grew up in the hood, because somebody addicted to it or died from it. Somebody addicted to it or died from it. I know somebody addicted to it and died from it. So that was some shit that the devil came up with, man.
So
put that shit on our hood.
So a lot of those old school players, some of them got knocked down by the crack monster too?
Yeah. Some real players got knocked down by that, man. Freaking off with girls and smoking, and it got the best to them. Yeah, some of that stuff happened to some real players, man. Some real gangsters.
Do you remember where you were at when Tootie got arrested?
Oh man, the bad thing about it is this, man. I talk about it in the book. Me and Tootie had a talk, and I'm gonna keep it 100, man. If Tootie would have came to me, and accepted what I had for him, do you know how big, man, how rich we would have been? We'd have been billionaires back in the 70s, because he had a West Side crib. We would have controlled all that. But, Tookie looked at me as, oh, that's Mike, he crazy, he young. But,
so Tookie,
I'm not saying he did what he did, but if you had a chance to make millions, would you go to prison on death row for $400 and murders? Not saying the brother did it, just saying it's a big ass stretch. You know what I'm saying? Circumstance.
Last one. Do you remember where you were at when Raymond Washington got killed in '79? And was it a big deal in LA when you heard about it?
Well, in 1979, you have to keep it in mind that I was all hustling. So what happened in the gang culture I heard about it, but it didn't really affect me unless it was somebody from my hood. Somebody in the 60 hood, one of them might have died or something. Then they got my heart. Somebody in V&G hood, they got my heart. But people that just, died, he died, okay, it was like that.
From your perspective, coming off of 6th Ave and 60th, living there before the Rolling 60s formed into a gang, who would you give as the founders of Rolling 60 Crip? Who made the transition from West Side to Rolling 60s?
I'm gonna tell you something, and I believe this. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I would say Perry Manuel, and the reason why I would say Perry Manuel, me and Perry kicked it, man. Me and Perry used to kick it every day. There's the girl he got the kids by and all that. I had her too. So Perry's good, man. I got much love for Perry, and I would tell you the truth. I would say, because if I'm not mistaken, when me and Perry was hanging together, I think that's when the Rolling 60s start coming out being Rolling 60s. And I was fucking with Perry. We was cool. And some people thought I was Rolling 60 because we kicked it like that. And I stayed in the hood, but, we just had love and respect for each other because we gambled and all that shit.
Did you know Odie Shaw?
Yeah, Odell Shaw, yeah.
Did you know Raymond Potts?
Of course. You asked Raymond about me, man. Raymond, I used to make sure Raymond came in the V&G hood because he messed with this girl named Gail, right? He couldn't come in the hood because they was gonna get him. But I made a path for him. He could go to his girl's house and nobody put hands on him.
Did you know Babyface?
Babyface. That name sounds familiar, man. Babyface. I tell you who I do know, and I got a whole lot of love for, man. Is Pinky. You do know Dennis, man. Listen, that was my brother, man. You know, and I helped that brother get a lot of money, but I couldn't keep him on track. And you know, he got killed doing armored car robbery, you know, downtown. And I told the brother, man, I said, man, that ain't cool, man. I'm telling you. So, you know, Dennis, that's his name, Dennis, you know. I love that brother, man. That was my brother, man. I got pictures of him holding my daughter and all that.
Oh, wow. I want to see that.
We used to give them sacks like that. Me and Pinky used to give the $1 bills to my daughter.
Who was Pinky's crew back then? Who would you associate with Pinky back then?
Oh, Pinky fucked around with, damn, man. He was real cool with, he in prison right now, I think. They robbed Stagger Lee. He was Stagger Lee. Me and Stag was cool. That's my boy, man. Stag and Mouse.
Stacy Bullock?
Oh yeah, Stacy, Stacy, Stacy was with Stag. You know, that's why he went to prison, because they was getting them those stores, you know, getting grocery stores, you know.
Last name, it's your neighbor. What can you tell us about Fred Hill, aka Snoop Dogg, as far as the formation of the 60s? Do you put him in any place in that pecking order, as you remember?
I would say, yeah. I would say that he was a 60. You know, I don't want to put it on him, but you know, because I don't know if that's what he's claiming. I'm just saying that, you know, like I was right there in the 60 hood, but he's Crip. So I don't know, the brother. I don't know, you know. But I know a lot of people got love for him. Should have love for him out the 60 hood. They should have a lot of love for him, you know. Big D, I talked to Big D, he's my nephew. You know, him and Snoop is real good. So, yeah, you know, him and Big D good. Got the fish market.
That's it. I just wanted to throw the founders at you, see if you knew them.
Oh, yeah, I know a whole lot of shit. I just said, yeah. Free Uno.
Sitting reminiscing about the days of way back. Big kid, dollar folders, gun holders with the gym on the rollers. Keep taking the fire, but the dope shots don't make dollars. It don't make sense.